this morning, all this week, it is Cityline's January Jumpstart. So every day, we're going to give you tips and advice on everything you need to rejuvenate your life for 2017. We are going to start with dating. Shannon Boodram is here. I can't think of a better topic. So proud of this girl. You know what?
I'm so proud of this hair.
Thank you. The bigger the better, right?
Yes. To the gods, honey.
To the gods, girl. So let's talk a little bit about, I mean, I could talk about your life forever, but we're going to talk about dating after divorce, because this is something we hear all the time from our viewers. You know, the dating game has changed so much, but then after you've been in a relationship for many years, then you're divorced, you got to get back in there. They need your help. You know, a lot of people need your help. So who is the person that should be even considering starting to date after they've had a divorce? What kind of mindset do they need to have?
So we're talking about the person who's done the work. You know, they've healed from that situation, they've made peace with it, there's amends there, and now they're ready to connect with someone brand new.
Okay.
And so these tips are really just pro-dating tips, but because of the fact that you've already done this, you want to do it better this time around.
That's right.
And so you want to make sure that you're not doing the same mistakes. You know, dating shouldn't be in your 20s 2.0. It should be something brand new, revolutionary, and designed for success.
Okay, so by doing the work, they've studied what their role was with the breakdown of the relationship. They're working on themselves. They feel like a whole person. They can go out there now.
Exactly.
Okay.
25% of second marriages are less successful than their first. So you want to change that statistic by doing something brand new and different. So you might need some books to help you get there.
Okay, I like that. So what should they be looking for now when they're looking for a partner?
Okay, so there's this book that I love. It's called The Science Behind Happily Ever After.
Okay.
And the key words there are happily ever after. I'm not saying how to have the best sex life or the hottest person or the guys who make your friends jealous.
Right.
It's the person who's going to make your life better, who's going to be a great partner for you. And the crux of this book is that you have to define 3 things that are mandatory for that partner to have.
Okay.
So you have to create a checklist of 3 ideal traits that person has to have in order to even consider going on a date with them. You hear horror stories of people who go on these really terrible dates, but meanwhile that person, you know, didn't fit those 3 basic things. And so you want to create that list for yourself of what those things are. I created a list I'm going to share on the website.
Okay.
So it's stuff like very agreeable, emotionally stable, securely attached, maybe a high novelty seeker, intelligent, takes responsibility for self. And so make a list of 20 different important attributes and then rank them in order. And those top 3, go by them like it's gold.
Okay, so what you didn't hear her say is has a 6-pack.
No, I mean,
Right?
it's in there. It could be in there, right?
It could be in there, but
Yeah.
I mean, that's the stuff that I think gets people going in the wrong direction. Like, it needs to be those things that you need in a partner that's going to be a partner for life, if that's what you're looking for.
Yeah, and good parenting is on there too, because that's a
parenting,
really
yes.
important part for you. You have to make sure that that person meets that criteria.
Okay, who knew how sexy that was? I didn't realize until
It's
I had
so
kids. I'm like,
sexy.
oh my God, you're a good daddy. That's hot. That is so good. Okay, so you say you need to be very clear about your objectives?
Yeah.
What do you mean by that?
So defining the relationship is something that no one likes to do, to have that awkward talk of like, where is this going? And a lot of
Yes.
us prolong that because of that, because we're like, it's weird to have it off the top. It's not weird.
No?
You have to be really clear on like, hey, right now I'm just coming out of a really, you know, emotionally tumultuous situation. So I'm just looking for a physical partner, or I'm just looking for someone to go to the theater with, or I'm looking for a long-term partner. And so if you're not looking for that, we're not on the same page. So there's a really great book, again, it's called Difficult Conversations. And so it's learning to get good at having those upfront discussions and being clear about your objectives. Because why waste time with somebody, you know, for 3 months or 3 dates who ultimately wants something totally separate from you?
Now, what about the perception that if a woman comes in and says, I am looking for a partner, that's going to scare him off right away, or he's going to feel like, you know, you reek of desperation, he's not going to want to go there?
They had a poll that came out that said that most people are clear about their goals for that person within the first 2 dates.
Okay.
So after 2 dates with somebody, you kind of get an idea of whether you see a long-term partnership or you don't, or you're in that space or not. So while we kind of have this stigma that like nobody wants to have that talk, it actually clears the air for everybody, and it stops you from wasting time. So
I like that. I love that. So you're clear about your objectives. Now you need to have some strategies, and you and I have talked before about flirting.
yes, I love
I think
flirting.
I've become a better flirt.
flirting.
Yeah, since that conversation. It's good. It's good for life. So when it comes to dating, though, what strategies strategies might we want to consider?
So we want to get good at dating.
Yes.
My favorite book that I read this year was The Art of Seduction. It is
Yeah.
a classic book, and I love it because of the fact that you hear so many times, especially from people who are going through their second dating phase, that I don't look how I used to, or I don't have the vavoom that I used to have. It's hard for me.
Right.
And in this book, it identifies 9 different styles of seduction. Only one of those styles has anything to do with physical. The rest of it is more mental, you know, using your strengths as your asset. So read this book, kind of decide, what kind of seducer am I?
Yeah.
Maybe I'm more of the charmer and less of the siren. You know, maybe I'm more of the charismatic or the ideal lover. And when you find that strength, you lean into it. And then you kind of just learn the psychological tricks. You know, it is the flirting, it's the leaning in. For every one question they ask you, ask 3 in return. Everyone's favorite topic is themselves. So you're going to have a better time having a good date when you kind of have some basic tools there.
Now, I don't know if you're dating still or if you're in a relationship, but a lot of people have told me that there are a lot of men that are not asking enough questions.
Yeah.
So it's like you know, the woman will be sort of pulling information constantly and they're not reciprocating with that information back. Do you continue with that rule if that's happening?
Yeah, because then you avoid an awkward time. And then you say to yourself, you know, not a partnered match, because, you know, what's high on my priority list is somebody who's supportive and finds me interesting.
Yes.
But at least then you learn something new. The person who talks the least walks away with the most information. And so even if it's not the best date and you're like, oh, that guy was kind of douchey, I didn't get anything out of that, you still may have learned something and you win in the ultimate run. So I think it's one of those things where there's a lot of people who are so afraid and uncomfortable and a lot of anxiety around dating, and you just want to get on top of that. And even if it's not happily ever after, at least it was a good time.
Yeah, okay, what a good way of looking at it. You say also date out of want, not need. That takes a lot of work to get there.
Yeah.
So date because you want to date, not because you need to date. You're good with yourself, but you wouldn't mind having a companion, so you're going to go out there and have some fun.
Yeah,
right?
And that's a matter of developing all the other relationships, your family ones, your friends. And I always think it's great to have a plan after a date.
Yes.
So you know you're going home to something fun. It also helps, too, to give you that exit. So if you tell someone off the top, I only have 2 hours. If it goes great, then they win an extra hour. You know, but if it doesn't go great, you have that out already. And then go home to the show that you've been dying to finish watch, you know?
Yes.
Go home to your own fun. And, you know, I wear the vibrator necklace. Go home to that. It's whatever it is, just know that, like, you have something fulfilling and fun to do afterwards.
Congratulations on that, by the way.
I have one for you.
You do?
Yes, I do. You win. I do. Yes.
It's going to be a good 2017. Listen, you've got your own product line. Like, here to the businesswoman in you. I love that. I think you're phenomenal. Follow Shannon everywhere you are, because you're on YouTube, you are on Instagram, you are on Twitter. Is it all Shan Booty?
It's all Shan Booty.
Shan Booty, baby.
With a D, because it's
Love
not
it.
about the butt. You know,
It's not about the
last
butt.
name. I
That's
wish it was
right.
about the butt.
Great tips.